Where's Johnny?
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
It's so simple.
Roll out.
I am Iron Man.
This is a tasty burger.
Welcome to the In Session Film Podcast.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Chasing the Gold. If you're watching this or listening to this right when it comes out, then welcome to 2025 because it's January 1st. Happy New Year, Erica.
Happy New Year, Shadan. I'm so happy that we made it.
I know.
That's the New Year.
What popped into my head is like, we made it. We're here. We did it. Go us.
Yes, happy New Year, my friend. Happy New Year to everyone else, too.
Yes.
So.
Wishing everyone a very happy New Year. We are here to talk Golden Globes predictions, which we will get into. But Erica, what have you been up to? What did your holidays look like?
The holidays were great. I don't know about you, but holidays are always like crazy busy for me. I have a lot of family. All my family's local. My boyfriend, all of his family's local. So it's a lot of like bouncing around to see everyone. So busy, but fun. And like kind of relaxing too. Like I scheduled in days to relax because I knew how busy I was going to be. So we have started binging The Traitors, the show on Peacock, NBC, whatever. And we're obsessed. So the day after Christmas, we started watching it Sunday and we had finished the whole first season, like the American version, season 1 by like Monday. Wait, is that right? I don't know. Whatever. We watched it in like 2 days and then Christmas night. And then the day after Christmas, we binged the whole first season of the British version, which is like the OG original. And now we're on season 2 of the British version. So we've just been like binging like The Traitors and we're obsessed.
I am so obsessed with I'm obsessed with the Traitors to the point where like it's literally taken over my entire personality.
Yes,
I've seen all of the American version, all of the British version, Australia, New Zealand, I've seen Canada. I kind of want to watch the Quebec because speaking of my family, they are not local, but my family lives in Montreal and they're here visiting now. So I go to Montreal a lot. So part of me wants to watch the Quebec version just to see that. Yeah. But like anything that has to do with The Traitors, I will watch it. I cannot wait for season 3. Like when people ask me like, what movie are you like most looking forward to in 2025? Part of me just wants to be like, I really need The Traitors to come out. And like
we're obsessed too.
I love it. And
I'm
like
right
I
there
got
with
my
you.
I got my little cousin obsessed with it and she's only like 7 and I'm like, is this appropriate for a child? I don't know. But she keeps asking me like, is The Traitors out? Is The Traitors out? I'll be like, do you want to watch The Wild Robot? And she's like, is The Traitors out yet? And I'm like, no, like we have to find something else.
Oh my God, that's so funny. No, so Tyler is like not into reality television. Like I've gotten really into Survivor like over the past couple of years. I think we talked about it here on the show. So like I've been really into that. Like I'm really on my like reality game show kick like right now. And one of my best friends who works in reality television, by the way, we can talk about that offline if you want.
I was going to say.
I'll tell you about it offline.
Yeah.
He recommended The Traitors and I kind of said to Tyler, like, I kind of described what it was because I hadn't watched it yet either. I just like went off like base what my friend told me. And I was like, will you give this a chance? Like, will you give it a try? Because I think it's like a lot different from a lot of like reality game shows. And he's like, yeah. And then like, he really liked the concept. And then it got, it sucks you in. So
it sucks you in.
Yeah. I can't wait. I think there's only 2 seasons of the British version and 2 seasons of the American version, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to finish. Yeah.
So do you prefer, I have a controversial opinion. Do you prefer having celebrities or regular people?
Regular people.
I do too. And I wish the American version, because it's so popular now, I wish we had a celebrity and a regular. If we were
maybe they'll do that. Maybe they'll do that.
Because I think with like the regular people, because they actually need the money, I feel like the stakes are much higher. Where I was like with the celebrities, like you don't need you're just here for like Instagram followers or whatever, or like your clout.
Well, and it's also
it doesn't feel as
it doesn't feel as authentic. And it feels like there's like, it feels like I should know something about these people that are the celebrities or whatever from other reality shows. And a lot of times, like, I don't know who, because like I don't watch Real Housewives. I don't watch like a lot of the other shows that have the same they're from that show, and that's why they're on Traders. So like I feel like I am like, oh well, I don't know certain things about this person, so I can't really judge. I don't know. So I definitely like the regular Joe Schmoes.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. So I have been loyal to the Bachelor franchise for years, and I've tried stopping so many times, and I can't. And I always told myself, like, that's the only reality, like, anything that you're allowed, like, nothing else. And then I started watching The Traders, and it, like, changed my life, where I was like, this is so fun. Like, what else is out there that I haven't seen? And so then I got really into Love is Blind, which is, like, so interesting. So now I'm like, what other reality shows have I been missing all these years? I know.
A lot of my friends watch, and my mom also watches 90 Day Fiance. That's one.
Oh, yeah, I know a lot of people that are obsessed with it. But I feel like that's such a rabbit hole. Like if I start, then I'm just
Same. I love Love is Blind also. I was a huge Bachelorette watcher, like you. I started when it came out, and like when I was in middle school or whatever, started watching it. I was same like you, but then honestly, it just got to, like the episodes are too long. Maybe I'll get back into it.
No, please don't. Please do not. Any normal person would stop, but if you've listened to us for long enough,
we're not the normal bunch. But no, so I love it. And then I got back into Survivor. Like I said, if you want something good, Survivor is so good.
I feel like this so many people were.
Oh my God, Shadan, this past season, I got one of my coworkers to watch it. I also watched this show called The Summit. Have you seen that one?
It
didn't get renewed. It's really good, but it didn't get renewed. So you could watch it and just be satisfied with the one season because that's it. It's basically Survivor, but people are like hiking this mountain and there's like money involved, and there's like you have to vote people like out for, and like depending on how far it's a lot, but it's very good, and it's also addicting. So no, I've been talking to everyone about The Traders. I was talking to one of my coworkers about it. Another coworker overheard and like just like jumped in the conversation because she's watched all of it too. So I'm excited to keep watching that, finish the second version or the second season of the British version, and then finish the second season of the American version. And then we'll probably watch New Zealand and Australia as well.
Well, so. I love I think the Australian versions are so fun. People hate
I've heard
them,
they're even better. Really?
I love them. They're so good.
My God.
They're so messy. One more question about The Traders, and then we'll move on to our actual topic. But like, do you think that if you were like a trader, you would be able to do it?
I can't lie. I would have to be a faithful.
I don't think, but I feel like
I would have to be a faithful.
I feel like I'm like kind of maybe like more quiet, so people would think that I'm a traitor and like vote me off or something. Like I just don't think I would survive in any reality context. Even on The Bachelor, like I don't think I would get very far because I think like I wouldn't be able to do the reality thing or like
right.
Game, right? I just don't think I would. I don't have like that like reality TV personality.
Yeah. I just think you'd have to find the right show for you.
Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. Yes. Oh my God. Let's get you on Love is Blind. No.
Get me on Love is Blind, and then I'll start talking about The Traders, and the guy will like walk out the door.
No, I would have to be a faithful. I think I'd be a really good faithful. I do think I don't know, but also I see the good in everyone. So I think I'd be one of those people that I'm watching that I'm like, how do you not see this? And I would be that person that's like, because, oh my God, the first season, poor sweet Meryl. God, I loved her. But she was so confused at the end. She did not pick up on what was going on. I felt so bad. But she still ended up okay. So
I feel like there's so many things, when we're watching it, we're like, how do you not? But then probably when you're in that environment and you're being manipulated. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you can be maybe there's like a secret manipulative side to you that just will have to come out if you're like.
I just can't like physically tell a lie. Like it won't come out of my mouth.
Okay,
I don't know.
let's ask you about some of these Golden Globe nominations and we'll see if you can lie about those.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
So, all right, the Golden Globes, guys, as I said, we're recording this on January 5th. The Golden Globes are actually this Sunday. I mean, we're recording this on the 1st. The Golden Globes are this Sunday, January 5th. CBS/Paramount Plus, hosted by Nikki Glazer. So they're coming up. They're literally a couple days from now. So we have some predictions for you. And speaking of confessions, Erica, I had my predictions written down. And then I was like, let me see what the folks over at Gold Derby are up to. Went to Gold Derby to look at their predictions, and now I'm really confused because their predictions were a lot different than mine. So I don't know, because the Gold Derby crowd is going hard on Conclave. Like, everyone there is predicting Conclave for everything.
Oh, really?
And spoiler alert, I am not. Even though I loved Conclave, and I watched it again, and I was like, "Ooh, this!" Like, I forgot how much I liked it, but I am not predicting it for. Well, am I predicting it for anything right now? I don't think so.
That's funny. Like, I wonder what is making them lean that way.
Because it's like, it's the kind of film that you can kind of show to anyone and they'll like it.
It's true.
You know
it's true. I
know what I
did go into it. I did go into it not thinking it was for me, and I left pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah. You can, it's like very like, I mean, it is political, but it's like very like, you can show it to your mom, you can show it to whoever.
No,
and
you're
I think,
100%.
But that's not what I'm picking, so I guess I'm gonna go down. So should we start with, like, do you want to start with like the, shall we say, below the line categories and move up, or start from drama and go down?
Your choice.
All right, let's start from the bottom, I guess. Cinematic and box office achievement. I'm going with our beloved Wicked.
Duh, same.
Yeah, and I also put like alternates for all of these categories except for cinematic and box office achievement because I don't see anything else that could do well here.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way that it's not Wicked. I mean, really, like, it's just, there's no way. Right?
All right. Yes, I agree. I think I have Wicked. Well, okay, I guess we're just gonna these predictions. And here's the thing: so when Will and I did our predictions episode for nominees, we're both like, "Oh, it's gonna be so easy." And I do feel like the nominees, it was pretty easy to see like what the field was. But in terms of winning, I feel like I can just see this going so many different directions. Like, I'm very confused. I feel confident about cinematic and box office achievement, and there's a few other places that I feel good about, but not much else. Like, I gotta be honest. The confidence is not here with these. So, nominees for Best Original Song, we have Beautiful That Way from The Last Showgirl, Compress Repress from Challengers, Forbidden Road from Better Man, Kiss the Sky from The Wild Robot, Mi Camino from Amelia Perez, and El Mal from Amelia Perez. Yeah. I have Kiss the Sky winning this. I think the two Amelia Perez songs are going to split the vote. So I think Kiss the Sky is going to take it. I do have El Mal as my alternate because I do think that's the more popular of the two Amelia Perez songs. But I do think Kiss the Sky is going to win out here. What do you have?
I think Kiss the Sky is my winner too, but actually I think my alternate is maybe from Challengers because I know everyone is so obsessed with Challengers, like the score, that maybe people will just vote for that. I don't know, but I would say that's my alternate, but also The Wild Robot.
That's not a bad prediction. So speaking of, next we have Best Original Score. And I could see Challengers. That's not what I picked as my alternate. I picked Conclave as my alternate because, as I mentioned, I feel like Conclave could do very well, and Best Original Score is an area where Conclave could easily pick up a win for Volker Bertelmann. But I have The Brutalist winning.
Oh, okay.
I think Daniel Blumberg is winning the Oscar. I think the Golden Globes is like a stop on the way to the Oscar. I do have Conclave as my alternate because I think that's a strong film overall, but I think if you want to talk about a surprise, like I could see challengers Reznor and Ross coming in and taking it.
I have them winning just because I feel like nobody will shut up about it. And I do love the score. That's my favorite thing about the film. So I actually have that winning. And then I still haven't seen The Brutalist. It's not playing in theaters around me, which is really annoying. It's like not playing around here yet. I don't understand. So this is why this is hard for me, because like I said, I haven't seen it yet. But then I would say Dune as my alternate, just because it's Dune, it's Hans Zimmer.
Yeah,
maybe,
and given that
I don't know.
Hans Zimmer, because we mentioned like he's not going to be eligible for this score for the Oscars, like I wonder if that is going to play into like maybe the Globes are gonna.
Why wouldn't he be eligible?
Because they said it's like too much. There's too much of the original score from the first film in it to qualify as original. I respectfully disagree with that decision, but that's
that's wild. I didn't realize that.
Okay, so for best screenplay, we have Emilia Perez, Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, The Substance, and Conclave. For best, what do I have? For best screenplay, I'm going with Anora because I think it's a really popular film, and I think this is just a place to award Sean Baker for his achievement. And for my alternate, I have A Real Pain because I feel like it's a very Globesy thing to want to award Jesse Eisenberg here. But again, as I mentioned, I know Conclave is really popular, so part of me is like, ooh, are they going to go Conclave? Are they going to go? I mean, this is like one of those categories where if any of these 6 win, I would not be shocked, to be honest with you. But I'm going.
We have the exact same thing. I would say also Anora. Still have not seen A Real Pain, but I see a lot of people talking about it, and I think this is one of the places that it's getting the most buzz. So we have the exact same two. And then I would say Conclave would be 3 for me. So it's funny because I think we're tracking the same thing. So
as I mentioned, Conclave is just a huge question mark for me because I'm like, is it like really?
I think what's exciting is seeing how it does here at the Globes will kind of give us a hint for what the future is gonna look like for award season for it, right?
That's true. That's true.
You know,
because I think at this point it's like easily top 3. Like maybe we're looking at Anora, Conclave, and The Brutalist as 3, the big 3 of the year. And so like which one of the 3 is gonna pick up the most wins may be very telling for us. And then I feel like people, they've been saying, oh, Emilia Perez is so like divisive, but if Emilia Perez, given that it's 10 nominations, the most nominated film of the year, if it ends up doing really well and maybe picking up wins that we're not expecting, that's kind of a big signal of like, hey, people really do like this movie and like we're underestimating it probably. So I do think the Globes are going to be very, and not to mention just in terms of like momentum, like what it's going to do, like if Emilia Perez overperforms, if Conclave does really well, if Brutal, like it's just going to kind of shift the conversation significantly, whereas I feel like sometimes the Golden Globes doesn't have as much influence. I feel like this year they will.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so for Best Director, we've got Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, Sean Baker for Anora, Edward Berger for Conclave, Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, Coralie Farge for The Substance, and Payal Kapadia for All We Imagine Is Light. One of my favorite nominations of anything ever. I'm going with Brady Corbet for The Brutalist. I think even if you don't give The Brutalist Best Picture, you're going to want to award his vision. And so I think he's picking up director no matter what. And then for my alternate, I'm going to go with Sean Baker. Again, I don't know. I could easily see like maybe they're going to go with either Frenchman or French woman, I should say. But I just think they admire Anora. And again, Anora could be a really strong player in a lot of these categories. So that
it's hard too because like Anora and Conclave are the only ones I've seen here. So I have Anora winning, but I feel like I probably have the Brutalist, Brady Corbet second, I guess, because it makes sense to me, or that it could win. I just don't feel confidently enough saying it could win because I haven't seen it yet. So, but that would make sense to me. Okay.
Yes. So next up, we have Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role in Any Motion Picture. The Globes annoyingly split up comedy and drama for like actor and actress, but then for supporting, they have everyone clustered into one category. So we have for male actor, we have Yura Borisov, Anora, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice, and the great Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2. I'm going with Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. This is one of the categories that I am most confident in. The Globes love Kieran Culkin, nominated him years ago for film work. He was one of the first people to win anything for oh my god, my favorite show, Succession. He was one of the first people to win for Succession. He won at the Globes. I think he's going to win again. And I think my number 2 would probably be Denzel Washington, just based on name recognition. But I feel very confident in Kieran Culkin here.
I mean, I think a lot of people are predicting he's going to win the Oscar. So it's like, it's kind of silly to not go with him here. I also really, really want Denzel to win in this category. So I also have him second because I just think he's so good in this, and I would love to see him win here. But also, I don't know. Could Yura Borisov win for Nora? Maybe
I mean, I'm thinking that maybe the sleeper here is Guy Pearce for The Brutalist.
Oh yeah, you said that. You said that.
Well, and I think that because he's one of those actors that's been around for so long, he's worked with so many. I mean, the Globes voters are not actors, but he's just somebody that's been respected and admired for so long. So I wonder, like, if they go big for The Brutalist, like, could he pick up a win here?
Yeah,
totally. I don't know. So, and okay, let's get into supporting actress. One of the categories, again, that has confused me the most this entire award season and is going to be the head scratcher, I think, until the end. We have Selena Gomez for Amelia Perez, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Margaret Qualley for The Substance, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. Now, a lot of people are going Ariana for Wicked, and I can totally see the Globes doing that because she's a star. She's going to, be fabulous. It could be like a big moment to have Ariana. Like, I could just see her winning, getting super emotional.
Yeah. That's who I'm winning.
See, I see the vision. I'm going with Zoe Saldana because I think if Amelia Perez, again, 10 nominations, clearly the Globes really loved it. Spoiler alert, I have it winning non-English language, but I feel like when you have that much love, it's got to go elsewhere, and I feel like Zoe Saldana, she's going to go along here. And I mean, she's also somebody that's, has been like very beloved, very well respected. So I just feel like Amelia Perez could potentially pick up. It would be very hard for me to believe that a movie gets 10 nominations and only wins international feature.
Yeah. And not to say that that couldn't happen. That could very well happen. I still, and obviously everyone knows I'm a Wicked fanatic, so I'm still going with it. I totally see what you're saying. But also, I don't know, don't we feel like The Substance has had a lot of buzz lately and a lot of momentum lately?
That's what I was just, yeah. Took the words right out of my brain. I was just looking at Margaret Qualley, and I was like, something about her name is just like, I could just see that scenario too, where clearly they love The Substance. We've got a director nomination, screenplay, all these things. Like, is that a place that they're gonna go? I don't know.
I could see that too.
I'm going on record with Zoe, but like if any of the other 2 or 3 that we're talking about happen, I will not be surprised. I'll be like, oh yeah, like that makes sense.
Yeah, you're going on the record with Zoe. I'm going on the record with Ariana. So at least one of us will be right.
Yeah,
I think.
one of us will win the battle. Best performance by an actor in a motion picture, comedy, or musical. We have Jesse Eisenberg for A Real Pain, Hugh Grant for Heretic, Gabriel LaBelle for Saturday Night, Jesse Plemons for Kinds of Kindness, Glenn Powell for Hitman, and Sebastian Stan for A Different Man. As I said when we discussed the Globes nominations, this is like a perfect chef's kiss category. I'm just obsessed. Like even just reading the names, I just feel joy.
I know.
I'm radiating joy. I'm going with Jesse Eisenberg because they clearly like the film. I mean, he directed it, he wrote it, and I just feel like this is a way to award him. Again, because I think screenplay is gonna go somewhere else, so I just feel like this is a way to award him something. And you know, and if I had a number 2, I'm going Glenn Powell because this is the year of Glenn Powell, so he's my alternate.
We have the exact same for this one too. I love Glenn. I would love if he won in this. I would love. Oh my god! I agree with you. It's the year of Glenn Powell. Yeah. And who doesn't love Glenn Powell? You know, I mean,
can you imagine like if Glenn Powell goes up there, gives a speech, throws up like a hook 'em horn sign? I think I would just faint and die, right?
And like rips his shirt off and rips the shirt off. I'd be very happy.
I mean, they love a star. They love a star.
I know, and he is a star. He is a star.
Yes. Okay, best performance by a female actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. We have Amy Adams for Our Beloved Night Bitch, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Zendaya for Challengers.
What a category.
What a category. And I'm going to let you go first because I don't know.
So I finally did see Night Bitch, which we will discuss. Loved it. But I'm going with my girl Cynthia Erivo here for Wicked. I know I'm a Wicked stan. I think she's incredibly deserving. I think the momentum is still there. And I'm going Mikey Madison as my alternate, just because I think she also still has the momentum and the conversation still been around Honora for so much stuff, you know.
I mean, with respect to my beloved birthday twin Amy Adams, I think literally any of these 5 other women could win and I would not be surprised. Because I wrote down Mikey Madison as my prediction, but now I'm like thinking and talking my way out of it. And I can see I see Mikey Madison because again, I think the Globes in particular really love to crown like the ingenue of the season, or like it reminds me of like Bridgerton wanting to crown the diamond of the season. Like I feel like the Globes are very much that, and I think Mikey Madison is that. And I would say for right now, she is the best actress frontrunner. But I'm looking at Demi Moore, and I'm like, everyone loves a comeback. Everyone loves Demi. And then there's Cynthia with Wicked. I think, I'm changing my prediction live. I think I'm going to go with Demi Moore. I just think, I think it's Demi. And I think that The Substance was peaking right at that sort of time of like when the voters were voting. But then like, if it's not Demi, is it going to be Mikey or is it going to be like, how big of a night Wicked has is also a huge question. Because can't you see a scenario where like both Cynthia and Ariana win and it wins comedy music like it does?
Yes,
crazy
that's exactly that's what I'm speaking into the universe and also predicting.
but there's also like the opposite universe where the only thing it wins is like the box office category, right? Like you could see that happening too.
I agree. And you know what? I think it's one of the two. I don't think it's anything in between. I don't think Ariana wins without Cynthia winning. I don't think Cynthia wins without Ariana winning. You know what I mean? It's like, it's either it only wins box office or it wins everything it's nominated for.
I agree with you. I completely agree. And I don't know which one it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows?
but also again talking about momentum, like Wicked we were in the heart of the Wicked madness as Globes voting was happening as well. So it's like,
yeah.
Do
you also think there was some strategy behind making it available New Year's Eve and hoping people were going to watch it like New Year's Eve and New Year's Day when people were off work, right? And at home right before Globes?
Well, I mean, I don't think it matters in terms of because Globes voting is over, but probably like
for excitement for people. I mean,
like them bringing it, which I feel like they could have kept it in theaters, or I mean, kept it off streaming longer to make more. I was very surprised. But I do think there is like the more people watch it, the more, and like if you're a voter and you have like. And I mean, they have made The Brutalist more accessible to voters, but like, what are you more likely to watch? Like, are you more likely to watch Wicked, or are you more likely to watch The Brutalist that maybe is not even playing near you, or you're not going to want to watch it on your screener? You're going to want to watch it, in the theater. One would hope. So all of this to say, this is probably, again, just one of those categories that I'm head scratching about.
I know. It's going to be interesting.
Best performance by an actor in a motion picture drama. We have Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Daniel Craig for Queer, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. Let me just pause here and say that Ralph Fiennes had the most delightful appearance on CNN's New Year's Eve coverage, which I saw afterwards. Yeah, I'll have to send it to you. But if you're listening to this podcast and have not looked it up, he is delightful. He like does like a recreation of the demure me.
Oh my god,
mindful, and Anderson Cooper just loses it and is like giggling in the corner. It is.
I love Anderson Cooper too. I'm a big fan of his. So
I'm waiting for the Anderson Cooper biopic. Let me tell you.
Who would play him? Who would play him, Shadan?
Who would play Anderson Cooper? All right, let me get back.
Yeah, we'll circle back to that.
Yeah, let's circle back. Maybe Ralph Fiennes can play Anderson Cooper. You need somebody with like the piercing blue eye. Like you got to have the eyes. Maybe it can be Sebastian Stan. You got to have somebody that has like some nice blue eyes. So here's the thing. Again, this category, I feel like, because a lot of people are going Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, and a lot of people are going Ralph Fiennes for Conclave. I can see either of the two. I am going to go a third route, which maybe is not the popular pick, but I'm going with Timothée Chalamet.
Oh.
I think that regardless of how I personally feel about A Complete Unknown, I think people really like that movie. I think people really like that performance. I think they like Timothée Chalamet. I think the Globes like Timothée Chalamet. They're going to want him on their stage winning something. I don't know. I can just picture it, and I see it going in the other two directions. I have Adrian Brody as my alternate, but I just think it's going to be Timothée Chalamet. There's something about that to me that makes sense for the Globes.
Yeah. I think I'll go same two people, but opposite. Just because I feel like lately I haven't seen hardly any talk about Timothy. I almost said Timmy because that's what we call him in this household. We just say Timmy, and we both know we're talking about Timothée Chalamet.
I mean, I wrote in my notes. I just wrote Timmy. Like I didn't.
I love that. I love that. I just don't. I feel like I've heard more people, and when I say this, I mean like people online. Like when I say this, like I feel like I've just seen more people talking about how moving Adrian Brody's performance was. And I just think there's more weight to what that film was about. Again, haven't seen it yet. Can't wait to see it. And then I would think Timmy would be next. That's my so I think I'll go the same two people, just opposite of you.
What I'm super interested in with Best Actor in general as a category, I think, again, with respect to Sebastian Stan, like those five men are pretty locked in. And I can either see a scenario where somebody like Adrian Brody takes like the Renee Zellweger route and just like streamlines to like a comeback second Oscar win, especially because it's been so long since basically Timothée Chalamet's entire lifetime since his first one. So I can see him just streamlining the whole season, or I can see a scenario where, like, let's say Timothée Chalamet wins the Globe, let's say Coleman Domingo wins like Critics' Choice, let's say Ralph Fiennes wins at BAFTA, and then you have somebody like, like Coleman Domingo might win at SAG, or then we get to the Oscars and we're like, every actor has won something, or like Adrian Brody wins it, so like every actor has won something, and then we get to the Oscar and we're like, what the heck is gonna happen? Like maybe Daniel Craig pulls through at SAG or something crazy like that happens.
Yeah.
So then it's like split between everyone. Right. And I think it's kind of either or. Like I think either one actor just wins it all and goes straight through, or like if Timothée Chalamet like goes up there and gives like a really great speech at the Globes, like I could see a scenario where they're like, you know what, he gives a great performance, like he's iconic. Both as a young actor and he's playing obviously an icon who should we say, like, Bob Dylan has like endorsed Timothée Chalamet's performance, like came out of nowhere, and
which is a big deal. That's a big deal, right?
A big deal, and talked about like what a good movie it was and what a good performance he like. I mean, there's no bigger stamp of approval.
There's influence in that for sure, definitely.
There's influence, and then like is that like again the idea of crowning like the actor of the new generation, whereas someone like Adrian Brody, who sort of had his moment all those years ago, like, does that narrative matter? I'm very curious about that, shall we say. All right, best performance by a female actor in a motion picture drama: Pamela Anderson, Angelina Jolie, Nicole Kidman, Tilda Swinton, Fernanda Torres, and Kate Winslet. I am going with Angelina Jolie. I just think, again, the Globes love Angelina Jolie, multiple winner, lots of history. For my alternate, I'm actually going to go with Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. I just think that's a really beloved movie. She's such a beloved actress in her native, I believe she's from Italy. And I just think, like, she's one of the greats that has been given a moment, and I think maybe she could pull through here as a surprise.
I don't feel right fully making a prediction on this category because I haven't seen any of these. So I trust your judgment here, but if I had to just go based off of what I like, if it's just a guess, I would say Angelina Jolie, and then I would actually say Nicole Kidman. But that's only just because I feel like I've seen more talk about Baby Girl, which I'm hoping to see. That is playing in theaters by me maybe over the next couple of days. I think I might try to get to the theater and see that one. Yeah, so that's my guess.
Not a bad prediction. Shout out to everyone who did the like Nosferatu Baby Girl double feature on Christmas. You had a better Christmas than I did, and I had a great Christmas, but I feel like those people had an even better Christmas. All right. Best motion picture, non-English language: All We Imagine as Light, Emilia Perez, The Girl with the Needle, I'm Still Here, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and Vermiglio. I think this is
I'm sure we have the same two here.
Yeah, Emilia Perez. And then maybe we don't. I'm going with the Sacred Fig as my alternate.
Oh, we don't then.
But is your alternate All We Imagine as Light?
Okay, so I guess I have a two. Yeah, it was that, but then I also was thinking of I'm Still Here because of the other nomination that we just had in the other category. I was like, oh, that's getting like double love. So I think Emilia Perez, I don't even think we need an alternate, right? I think Emilia Perez is going to win. I think we're all pretty confident in that. But if somehow it happened the other way, I mean, it sounds like all of these are good. So we'll hopefully eventually get to see all of them at some point. But I think we know Emilia Perez has this one in the bag.
Right. And I mean, we said this with Wicked, but I feel like, again, Emilia Perez is another one of those movies where, like, either it just wins international, nothing else, or it wins.
Yeah.
We could see a scenario like it wins actress. It could possibly even win director. It could win supporting actress. Like, it could win. It could like pick up a good half of, or even more of the 10 nominations that it got. And I'm like, I'm swinging more towards it picks up like Zoe and international as in non-English, as I said, but like I could see it going the other way, and I really don't know. And like even similarly, again, Conclave is another one where it's like it could take score, it could take like actor, it could take screenplay, it could take all these things, or I think I have it taking nothing,
right,
with respect to that film, but like it could take a bunch of stuff, and I'm just wrong. And the pendulum just goes the other way, and I just didn't.
Right.
Best motion picture animated, we have Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Moana 2, Wallace and Gromit, the Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. I think The Wild Robot, no question, and probably my alternate would be Flow.
I also have Wild Robot. My alternate would be Inside Out 2.
Speaking of which, Erica, we were talking briefly online of like movies that are streaming. That would be, I have not seen Wallace and Gromit, but that would be like an easy watch. Because it's on Netflix. So maybe that, like, if we need to play catch up, we just watch some of these like animated films.
Right. But Flow is international. Is that not English language?
Is it nominated here for international as well? Or I think I have not seen it.
Wasn't there something that I was like, oh, I didn't know that was not English. I feel like wasn't it nominated for something that I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, I also just love Inside. I'm a huge fan of Inside Out, the first one, but I think the second one was really cute, and I think people really liked it. So that's just, I think The Wild Robot for sure takes it here. But if I had to guess, I would say, Disney and just the recognition like of the title already,
Right. All right, so we've come to our big 2 categories. Best motion picture, musical, or comedy. I wonder which film Erica is
what do you guys I know this is crazy, but
so much momentum here for you guys listening. So we have Anora, Challengers, Emilia Perez, A Real Pain, The Substance, and Wicked. Erica, what is your alternate other than Wicked?
I would say my alternate is Anora. I think Wicked absolutely takes it here. I'll be devastated if it doesn't, just because everyone knows how much that film means to me, and I think the momentum is still there for it, but I could totally see Anora winning this one for sure.
So I actually also have Wicked. I have Anora as my alternate. Yay. I just think that the Wicked is too big of a like storm, and Anora, if I'm correct that Mikey Madison, like, why I guess I switched my prediction to Demi Moore, but if we live in a world where like Anora picks up screenplay and maybe actress, then they feel like, okay, we've given it enough, and then they can give Wicked the big one, or they give all, as we mentioned, like they also give Wicked actress, and then they just give Anora best original screenplay to be like, hey, Sean Baker, good job, and they just give everything else to Wicked. I don't know, but again, like I think what wins here is very telling, because also we have Emilia Perez here, so like if Emilia Perez is strong enough, then it just wins everything. And then if The Substance is like as big of a phenomenon, there's a world where enough people like voted for The Substance and it wins here as well. Like you get a win for Demi and picture and potentially supporting actress.
This is interesting because it could go so many ways. It could go so many different ways.
I really don't. I can't remember the last time I've been this torn about the Globes, because I always feel like the Globes, no offense to them, make kind of obvious picks, but like this time I'm like, well, I just don't know.
Yeah.
Given how strongly they felt about multiple films. Like I'm like, which one is gonna be the winner? But I think Wicked, just even if it doesn't win, like even if Cynthia doesn't win, or even if Ariana doesn't win, like Wicked is strong enough to win here.
Right.
Okay, our last category, Best Motion Picture Drama. We have The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nickel Boys, and September 5. Again, as we've mentioned on multiple shows, probably the strangest category of the night, because you have Nickel Boys and September 5 popping up here and
nowhere else. Yeah, it's crazy.
I would love somebody to explain that to me. I want to look at the like ballots or like the math of like.
Do you think it's because if you look at the other category, things like Anora, Wicked, The Substance, A Real Pain, they would show up in like a Best Picture overall category instead of it just being like drama versus musical comedy? Like I think Nickel Boys and September 5 would be inched out. Do you get what I'm saying? Like if it was all one category, you know what I mean?
Well, I think Nickel Boys, so a spoiler for my own Oscar predictions that are on In Session Film, I do have Nickel Boys in picture, and I have Nickel Boys in director. So like I think Nickel Boys could have maybe was like on the cusp of getting director, or like on the cusp of, maybe not screenplay, because the Globes, they combine adapted and original. There's only one screenplay category.
But you would say September 5 would definitely be like inched out there, probably.
I mean, I think so. I don't think that film is as strong of a contender as the only other place that I see in terms of like Oscars September 5th showing up is editing. I think that film is actually really well edited and could surprise there. But that film, because again, like I just feel like people haven't seen it. And it's like the kind of thing where like if you happen to be at a festival and have seen it, and I mentioned like it took me a while to like be able to find somebody who was willing to send it to me so that I could watch it. So like I feel like it's crazy, hard to access. But I think it's either streaming, because it's from Paramount purchased it. It's either streaming now or will be soon. So it's going to be available for plenty of time for Oscars. So who knows? But for okay, so I'm doing something crazy here.
Okay.
Originally, I had The Brutalist, and I was like, they're gonna pick The Brutalist because The Brutalist, you know, is like a front runner for picture at the moment, and they're going with The Brutalist. And I'm taking you, Erica. What's happening right now? What's happening, dear listeners, is that I'm taking you through my brain and my thought process.
It's like the Magic School Bus.
The Magic School Bus, and you're all along for the ride. And as I mentioned, I feel very strongly about Timothée Chalamet winning the Globe, even though others do not. So then I was like, okay, so then they're going to pair Timmy and they're going to pair A Complete Unknown, because that's something that the Globes like to do a lot, is like they like to pair, and you'll see it potentially on the TV side, they like to pair like an actor with their show or an actor with their movie. So I was like, this makes sense to me that you have like Timmy and A Complete Unknown. But then I went on Gold Derby before we recorded, and everyone on the vast majority of people on Gold Derby are going big on Conclave. And so I was like, am I missing something here? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
I think it's between those three. And I think maybe like The Brutalist has the edge. But for some reason, I just feel like A Complete Unknown makes sense for the Globes.
Okay.
But doesn't it just make sense as like something that the Golden Globes would pick?
I agree. I have the same three in like my top three. Like, you know, it's between those three, but I probably had The Brutalist and then Conclave. But now that you're saying it, I could totally see that with, I could, especially if they go with Timmy. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, so those are our, how do you, Erica, I do not feel great about
no, I feel, but also I think I feel all over the place because these nominations are kind of all over the place. Like, it's not exactly what we thought it would be, right? Like, if you would have said, do you think Amelia Perez is going to get the most nominations, I would have said no. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's kind of all over the place. I think it'll be really interesting on Sunday. Yeah.
Something really interesting is happening this season, whereas like normally we have a lot of contenders and we're looking at our nominations to be able to narrow it down. But then what I think happened this season is like our contenders got narrowed down really quickly. Like we have the same people that keep showing up. And so like I think we have like our contenders pretty locked in. Like I think the combination that we've seen with Critics' Choice, with Golden Globes, like these are the people that are going to show up at the Oscars. But like who's winning, I think is more like in question. Whereas like maybe in years past, we would have a better idea. Whereas like genuinely at this point, in terms of the Oscars, like maybe I feel confident in Amelia Perez and nothing else. Like, you know what I mean? I just feel like
I get what you're saying.
Because I'm like, I don't know. And as we've kind of mentioned briefly, I think a lot of what is happening in the world is influencing how people are thinking. And like, I wonder if that means that like a crowd pleaser like Wicked would do better this year than if it might have, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or like, again, if you're gonna put on something like Conclave because it's easier to get sucked into that world. And something like The Brutalist or Amelia Perez, quote unquote, you might have to work a little bit harder to get there. And maybe we're not, or even like A Complete Unknown is like a very classic by the book biopic. Doesn't really throw any surprises at you. It tells you what it is up front and you go for the ride.
Right.
So I really wonder like
which
how
is
much
like sometimes the safe one is the pick, you know, like we've all seen that happen before.
So then is the safe movie of the year Conclave? That has to be the safe movie of the year, right? I mean,
or A Complete Unknown. Like
correct.
It's
correct, yeah.
You know, I mean, I think it could be either of those. I don't think a lot of people like your average moviegoer is not going to go see the Brutalist and spend 5 hours in the theater. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
And they may go spend the 5 hours in the theater and walk away not liking it. Whereas like Conclave, you're going to walk away at least being like, yeah, that was interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
you're going to be talking about it on your way to the car. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not that long, right? Like, which does play into at least the average moviegoer's like experience. It's not everyone, right? Like, but I do think there's something to be said for that.
Well, I will say that my mom, so she's not been keeping up with the race the way she normally does, but she's a big like Oscar watcher, and her taste align very closely with the Academy. And the two movies that she really liked were Conclave and, surprisingly, even though she's not a musical person, Wicked.
Yes.
So like that makes me wonder. Again, my mom does not vote for anything. She's just hanging out in Houston. But I gotta wonder if that speaks to like, oh, okay, like, and she liked The Brutalist a lot. Like, I thought she was gonna hate it, and she ended up really liking it. But then she's like, but like Conclave was so interesting. Oh, like, you know, this and that. So like, I wonder if that.
I mean, and I think about Conclave, like I said, I had really low expectations going into it because I just did not think it was for me. But I went in, I tried to be open-minded, and I was engaged the entire time. Like, I was engaged the entire time. Yeah, I just think it's surprisingly good. I don't know. So,
and that's why, again,
time will tell.
Take it back to Amelia Perez, because like before we got online and we were talking about things that you could watch, and you were like, but Amelia Perez, like, you know, your boyfriend may not want to watch with you. Like, it's like, you know, I think a lot of people feel that way, where they're like, oh, this isn't what we thought it was going to be. This is weird.
You have to be willing to read subtitles. You have to be willing to do a musical, where not everyone loves a musical, you know? I mean, it's a thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Speaking of movies we loved, we do want to touch on a couple just quick movies that we saw over the holiday. Let's start with Night Bitch, because I know we're both on the same page. What did you think, having finally seen Night Bitch? Yeah.
Shadan, I loved it. I think I texted you when I was watching it, and I was like, I'm 20 minutes in, and I'm obsessed. I loved it. I loved the tone I loved the way it was shot. I loved the way it was edited. I loved literally everything about it. I do think it's very specific. This film is made for specific people. I think when when Night Bitch first came out at where did it premiere? Was it TIFF? You were at it was at TIFF. And I think I saw a tweet that said Night Bitch is a horror for male audiences and a comedy for women audiences, and that just like totally resonated with me. I was like, oh, this is my new favorite genre. And I think it was exactly that. I think this is something that most women can relate to. Like, I'm not even a mother, but there were so many things that were happening to her, or things she was feeling, or experiences she was having, where I was like, I feel so seen. I just think it's one of those films that everyone should watch, because it allows like a different perspective on just like the womanhood experience, right? Like being a woman, having a child, having a career, having all the, having to be polite all the time, having to, be understanding in situations where you just want to like go off on someone, just all the things about like womanhood, which I love stories like that. I thought it was really different than anything else I've seen in a long time. Just like the willingness to go there, and like this is a weird subject matter, right? Like when you really get down to it, but it's obviously very metaphorical. I loved it, Shadan. I loved it. I can't wait to recommend it to all my girlfriends who have just had babies. So
I agree with you that everybody should see this movie. And then I my response to you when you texted me was justice for Night Bitch, because I don't really understand why. Like I don't really understand why this movie did not. I guess I do understand. I mean, as you mentioned,
I was gonna say you do.
but as you mentioned though, but it's like about. It makes me upset because I'm like, why weren't people willing to meet it where it was and like see what it's trying to do? Because it's doing all the things that you're talking about womanhood and motherhood, but like even like the perspective of the husband that it shows is really interesting, because it's not making like a lot of movies about like early motherhood that I've seen. It's always like, oh, the overworked mom and the dad that's like, not involved or doesn't do as but like to me, I thought it was interesting because the husband, like he's like trying, you know what I mean? He just like doesn't understand what to do. And I do think a lot of men feel that way. Right. So like I thought even that aspect was interesting, and even like the part of her being an artist and like trying to connect to her art. Like you don't even have to be a woman or a mother or anything to be able to like connect to that, of like what happens when you are a creative person who doesn't feel creative anymore. Like that's such a human experience.
100%. I love the point that you go ahead. Sorry.
So, well, I was just gonna say, even in terms of motherhood, like there were so many things that I didn't. Even though I do feel like my people who have kids, like I know that I've read, studied, whatever, but there were so many things that I never even thought about that Night Bitch like brings up. So I just, I feel very frustrated that this movie just didn't.
Yeah. But I'm glad it's on Hulu so that more people can see it and watch it and stumble on it. And like I said, I'm going to recommend it to all my girlfriends. But I love the point that you made about the husband, because it usually in this type of film is so easy to hate the husband. And I didn't hate him. Like you said, I was like, oh man, he's trying, but he just sucks. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with certain things. But I loved when she was like talking about leaving her job and leaving work. And he was like, I thought I was supporting you by like that's what you wanted. And I thought with like agreeing to that, like I was supporting you. Like where again, it's just this human, I think it's like a really good look at human experience and like relationships and like, just trying to figure each other out and trying to be there. Like I said, relationships can be hard sometimes, and he genuinely thought he was doing the right thing. Like it wasn't a manipulative thing, or it wasn't like this power thing where he was like, I have to be the one that is the bread maker and you have to be the one that's home. It was not like that at all, which I loved. But then like the point is still made too, where he's like, oh, I would love to be at home with him all day. And she's like, you think you would, and then the times that he actually does, he was like, that was really hard. I mean, really hard. I just think like it really is an interesting dynamic between the two of them, because I usually in that type of, plot, I can so easily be like, just like write off the husband or the father, but he was so different from most of the characters. I thought he did great in that role, and I really loved their dynamic. Like, I thought it was like perfect and realistic,
And also like a relationship that's like lived in and like a couple that's been together for a long time. Like, you don't necessarily see that portrayed as accurately as it is in that film.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
I think ultimately what happened with Night Bitch is like it came out at TIFF and maybe it wasn't what people were expecting, so then they immediately wrote it off, or like the like first reactions weren't what people were expecting, so they were immediately like, okay, let's just drop it. And if you take one thing away from our conversation is like just give it a chance. And like,
I love you. I think you put it perfectly, Sean, when you said meet it where it's at. If you meet it where it's at, I think you're changing your perspective on how you're thinking about it, and you will totally see it in a different light and love it. Like, I honestly can't wait to watch it again, because I think I'm going to pick up on different things.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I mean, it does get weird. It's called Night Bitch, but like,
it gets weird.
Go with it. Yeah.
But it's also kind of funny. Like, I also love the scenes with like the moms at like the story time at the library or whatever. Like, those scenes I thought were hilarious. Some of those like genuinely made me laugh out loud. So there's like some humor in there as well, right? Like, I think again, meet it where it's at. Like, meet it where it's at.
Well, that's a good transition for Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Because maybe I just didn't meet it where it's at. Like, speaking of, maybe that's...
I'm totally hypocritical right now, because I did not at all meet Nosferatu where it's at, and I had such high expectations. It was not what it was what I thought it was going to be, but also not. And then I don't know if it's just... This is going to sound so shallow, because I'm big on vampire, like, genre things. And like I said, I love the original Nosferatu, like, love it. But I'm usually not like this with things. I can usually, like, stomach or, like, watch things that gross me out. But the amount of rats, Shadan, like... It was too many rats for me. Like, and usually something like that, I don't let affect me how I feel about a film, but it was just like, like, I can do snakes, I can do sharks, I can do bugs, I can do anything. That doesn't scare me, doesn't freak me out, whatever. Rats just gross me out. Like, they're so gross. And I just couldn't with the rats. Like, I just was just like, oh, there's so many rats. Like, oh my God. But aside from that, because that is just such a, like, people are going to be like, Erica, that's so stupid. That can't be the reason why you didn't love it. I don't know what it was, just like there was something missing for me.
Yeah, no, I think like and that's the thing is I was listening to you and I was like, well, it's not the rats for me, but what was it? You know what I mean? And I keep trying to think, and I tweeted this for those of you still on Twitter, that I think Robert Eggers as a filmmaker just doesn't work for me. And like, I see the vision. Like, I admire the talent. I get it. I've watched everything. I've seen The Witch. I've seen The Lighthouse. I've seen The Northman.
The Witch.
Like, I just think there's something about his movies that at the end I'm left wanting something. Or like, you know how people say like a movie leaves them cold? I feel like his movies always just leave me cold. I don't know.
I agree. It's almost like the plot is never fully developed. Even though I know it is, I still feel like I'm missing something from it. You know what I mean? Like,
and I will say, like, I love vampire. I'm a big vampire person as well. Like, Dracula, my favorite part of the book is sort of the meeting of the count, and I feel like that's very secondary in this.
Yes.
And then also, like, tonally, it's very, like, all over the place. And, like, I laughed quite a bit, and I wasn't sure if I was supposed to. Like, I was very confused by that. Like, I was like, is this supposed to be funny, or am I just being, like, And then I wonder if you like my favorite performance in the film was Nicholas Hoult. I think he was great. I think he's very underrated as an actress in general. Lily Rose Depp, I have not seen her in anything else, so I kind of went in.
She was good.
She really impressed me. I really liked her.
Yeah. We love Nicholas Hoult because Tyler and I are huge on The Menu, obsessed with that movie. And I think he is like been flying under the radar ever since then. So I loved him in this. I thought he was good.
But I say all of this to say Aaron Taylor Johnson was like so miscast to me and distracting. I just did not. I don't know. I think the casting choices were weird.
Yeah.
Like even like Willem Dafoe, I was like, I feel like you've done this same performance, even though I love Willem, like everything.
Love Willem Dafoe. I always want to see him, but it was just.
But I just felt like nothing. The elements didn't come together, and I don't really understand why. Because like artistically, it should, and like the character design of Nosferatu, I thought looked really good. Like I liked the way he looked, but but like other parts of the visuals, I felt were a little bit like boring or just not super exciting.
Well, and I think like, and not to judge it based off of the original, but you kind of have to when it's a remake, right? The original one is one of the movies that like genuinely creeps me out every time I see it, but not in the creepy way that I'm saying like mice creep me out or rats creep me out. It's in the like spooky, scary, like, oh my God, this is so like, spooky way. And like I had a friend who was texting me and was like, do you think that like the new Nosferatu is going to be like super scary? Like I'm just trying to gauge, whatever. And I said, oh, well, I'm going to see it tomorrow. Like, I'll let you know. And I text her and I was like, it wasn't scary. Like, I kind of do want to be spooked. You know what I mean? Like going into something like that. And there's like a couple jump scares and I text her and I was like, it's super gory. Like if you're not into like gory things, like it's a lot of gory things and a lot of rats. Like that's literally what I text her. And then she of course was like Googling things and she was like, the rat wrangler on set said there were 7,500 rats and 200 trained rats. And she's like texting me all the like the rat facts. And I was just like, oh, like I can't with the rats.
I am not big on. I'm a wuss. Like I'm a horror wuss. I'll admit it, and I did not have a problem with it. So like,
that's what I'm saying. Like it didn't meet me. Like I wanted it to be scarier. Like the jump scares. Like okay, 2 or 3 jump scares, fine, whatever. Like that. It's whatever for me. But like I want to be spooked and like afraid of the dark when I walk out of the theater into the night. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't feel that at all. So that's where I don't know.
But I think, like I said, maybe I just didn't because so many people like loved it, and I'm like, what did I miss? Like, what did I not see? Because it's also like I felt like it was so strange. Like it spent a lot of time on certain things, and then other relationships and parts like weren't as developed. And I was like, well, why? So I don't know. Didn't work for me. My apologies to Mr. Egger. So I really do respect.
I wasn't. Same. Yeah. So.
Well, a low point for us to wrap, but maybe a good place for us to wrap. I will see you post Globes.
Yes, we will definitely do. Yep.
And by then, we've got, I guess, we'll either do predictions for SAG or react to SAG because things are happening pretty rapidly. I do have updated Oscar predictions on the website. As I mentioned, so many interviews. If there's a film you loved, there's an interview for it. So I would suggest going over to In Session Film. And also, I should also plug that we're doing top 10 lists. The writers. So if you're looking for like all different kinds of perspectives on the best of the year, we've got lots of top 10 lists for you. So please go over to In Session Film and check out all the great writing there. Rate and review us. It really helps the algorithms, the powers that be, for the show to grow. Leave us feedback. Tell us if you think we're like crazy about or because I said I don't know which way the pendulum is going to swing. So tell me which way the pendulum is going to swing. Or come back post Sunday and be like, you got everything wrong, which is very likely. So yeah, I should ask you, Erica, before I let you go, where did you land on your Wicked count?
Again, I just have had no time. I'm still only 4 times in the theater, 5 times in the I think still just 4 times in the theater. And then, of course, I'm going to make my purchase so that I can watch it all the time. And then my count will be different. But you know what? I think the reason why I haven't seen it again in the theater is because I was waiting for the announcement of the sing-alongs, and they haven't done them near the theater. The AMC I go to has not announced they're not doing the sing-alongs, and I thought they were. So I was like waiting and waiting and waiting. So I either am going to have to travel for a sing-along or just host the sing-along here in my home.
Well, we were wrong about how many times
I know.
Erica was going to go see Wicked.
Listen, if I could have seen it every single day, I would have. It's just life gets in the way.
But I do think we are right about at least some of our predictions. And you should watch Night Bitch. You should watch The Traitors to bring it back all the way back to the beginning.
As soon as we're done here, that's what I'm going to do, is watch like at least 2 more episodes tonight.
Wow. Okay. Good night, everybody, and have fun watching The Traitors, Erica. Thanks for hanging out with me, taking a break from your binge. I appreciate it.
Yes, we'll see you after the Globes, everyone.
Yep.